There we go. Good morning. It's Friday, November 5th, 2021. I'm Pete Andresen of Andresen and Associates, and I just wanted to do a little market comment for my clients. If you're not my client, I am not giving you investment advice. Enjoy this for entertainment. This is intended for my clients. So let me get started here. This last week was really memorable because it was the anniversary of one of the big moments in my life. In October 2016, my wife and I went down to the Schwab Impact Conference, and we had a major effort, and it was a big event, and all the big minds were there. Big minds in finance, economics, and financial markets. They're all there. They were up on stage, and they all agreed. They all agreed on a lot of things. One of them was that it was extremely likely, in fact, a sure bet, that Hillary Clinton was going to be president of the United States. They pretty much had a consensus that the stock market was going to average 4% a year for the next 5 years, that the bond market was going to see rising interest rates, that the economy was going to go sideways. That was their general consensus. So basically, I came home after this maximum effort and got ready for what was supposed to be happening. And it was entirely wrong. The entire perception by the great minds, we're talking chairmen of the Federal Reserve here, they were wrong, which goes to show you that sometimes the consensus can be very, very, very wrong. We just saw that again with COVID. COVID continues to decline as an issue. It's going to affect us for years to come. I think people are underestimating, or perhaps we're all impatient. We all want to get back to normal, but there is no normal. There will never be another normal without the concept of COVID floating around in our head. And how we sort that out is going to affect us for decades to come. But one of the features of COVID was the predictions. Prediction, this is going to happen. I predict that's going to happen. Everybody running around, all the experts making predictions. And because it was a pandemic and viruses don't listen to predictions, many of those were wrong, not because they were wrong-headed or evil or bad or malignant or anything, simply because that's the way reality works. Reality is full of uncertainty. And as the Delta variant showed us, this thing can go off in a different direction in a minute. So now, this week, we face a new bit of news, and that is that the Federal Reserve has decided that they're going to not give the economy its heroin fix. They're not going to create monopoly money like they have in recent months and years. Basically, since 2008, we've been on some sort of life support. Think about the incredibly pessimistic expectation of that we are unable to function as an economy, the most powerful economy in the globe. In fact, it is the global economy that the Federal Reserve influences. And we are unable to function without a fix, without artificial financial manipulation by a government. We get all excited about, the Chinese people say this and totalitarians say that, but that's extremely top down. The idea that, our economy cannot succeed unless we have all this stimulus going on. Anyway, they're going to cut it back. And predictions all over the place. And the answer is the same as in the past. We're going to make a lot of predictions. We don't know. We've had a debt bubble. We have a stock market bubble. The financial markets are overvalued. Real estate's overvalued. We don't know. Which brings me back to this. This was a book published in 1993 by Harry Dent. Harry Dent has famously predicted 10 of the last 5 big booms, and he's famously predicted 10 of the last 5 big crashes. So Harry Dent has made a living throwing it out there, throwing out these predictions. And it turns out he was right. It only took 3 crashes to get there. There was another book, 36,000 on the Dow, 20 years ago. We got there this week. We finally got to 36,000 on the Dow. I'll get into this later in another video, but we have all gotten rich betting on the success of the United States of America and betting on the global economy. The people who yap and shriek about the coming days of doom existed back then as well, and they got left totally in the dirt. The question is, do you have the courage to handle what comes next? I will bet, well, a bottle, I'm not a betting guy, but I'd bet a bottle of wine on it, that there's a great boom ahead. I bet there's several great booms ahead. There's also several great crashes. There's a great crash ahead. The stock market is overvalued. The bond market is overvalued. The real estate market is overvalued. Everything's overvalued because of all this stimulus. There will be a reset. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be brutal. That's why our portfolios are currently conservative and diversified, including our bonds. Yes, we see big obstacles, climate change, you can list them. Back when this book was written, there were other big obstacles that would just scare the snot out of anybody who truly absorbed them. But any crash we have is going to be temporary. Again, I'm going to bet our futures on the fate of the United States, which I predict will be wonderful. We will have the equivalent of World War II. We face the potential of a war with China. Life will absolutely suck at times, but I predict that we will get through and that the world will get through with a lot of pain along the way, just like we experienced since 1993. So keep it in mind. Pain is ahead. A great crash is ahead, but also a great boom is ahead. So we are conservative right now. I intend to buy on weakness. And predictions, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. A couple of other notes. This week at the office here, we have been coping with people putting in their IRAs, they've put charities as beneficiaries, one particular situation. That really hasn't worked well. I mean, the administration on this thing has just been brutal. Charities as beneficiaries of IRAs tend to be very problematic. This week has confirmed that. The other thing that's fascinating to me is the big charities, the big national charities have lawyers involved. So if they got the money to spend on lawyers, they don't need the money, in my opinion. So that drives my personal belief towards local charities and outside of IRAs. When you create a beneficiary as in an individual, you know, a son, daughter, grandkid, cousin, whatever, that is a beautiful, marvelous thing. And it's one of the fastest administrative features I've seen of managing an estate. So I'm all for that. The other thing that's been rolling through my mind, looking at that person passing away, is that it's raining outside. It's October and it's not raining today, but we've had several wonderful storms. And last year was one of the most brutal droughts in history. And it causes me to remember that we should savor every moment. So that's my last bit of financial advice. As we're entering the holiday season, we're conservative, but we're not extreme. Yes, things are changing. Things are always changing. And I hope we can all savor every moment. Thank you very much.